Oh my gosh. Yes, that's going to be
Yes.
awesome.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Happy Monday. Happy Monday. Hopefully, everyone is having a fantastic day. It's gorgeous outside, and hopefully, you've had a chance to get out and enjoy some wonderful sunshine. So, this afternoon, I have a special treat for you. We have Amy, and she is the owner and CEO of Turn Your Lights On Again Coaching, right?
Yes, absolutely. Lights on again coaching. Turn them
Lights On
on.
Again Coaching.
Absolutely. I love it.
Awesome, awesome. So I'm going to read a little bit about Amy, and then we'll get into the discussion. So, again, Amy is the founder of Lights On Again Coaching, and she helps high achieving, sensitive women escape soul crushing jobs, work they love that lights up their life as well as their bank account. Now, I love that because, we all want to light up our life and we need more money in our bank account.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I like to think that if more women had more wealth, that would change the world.
I totally agree. I totally agree. So, by working with Amy, clients gain the clarity and confidence needed to achieve their potential without sacrificing their health. And that's so important. Amy has over 25 years of combined experience in higher career development and corporate wellness coaching. She brings a unique perspective that helps her clients uncover the subconscious patterns that keep them stuck. And I can relate to that so much. Her coaching approach utilizes feminist principles as well as evidence-based methods grounded in scientific research. And that just gets my ears just churning like, oh my gosh, I want to know more. I won't read all the other details of what she's got lots of accolades. And so, Amy, will you tell us a little more about yourself, how you got started, and what made you come up with the title Lights On Again Coaching? I really like that.
Oh, well, thank you. Yes, and I'll be honest, I am not going to take credit for that, even though I should. I'll be honest, that was Suzanne Evans that
Really?
helped me with that. Yes, I was just pouring my heart out to her. I had taken the business acceleration mastermind. I was pouring my heart out, and within 10 minutes, she goes, "Your lights on again, coaching." I'm like, I am. And it fits so perfectly, though, with my passion, which is really helping women who feel stuck in soul crushing jobs, because I have been one of those women. I have worked side by side with some of those women. And it's heartbreaking to see other women who have worked so hard and gotten so far in their career. And then they look around and they're like, whew, wow, what am I doing here? And they just feel stuck and they feel miserable and they're unhappy, but they feel like they have worked themselves into a corner because they don't know what else to do, because all their education and all their experience has led them to that particular job. So often I work with women who are in leadership, not always, but a lot of women in leadership, because we keep thinking the further we go up that career ladder, the better it's going to be. Unfortunately, that's not always the case. Oh, yeah.
Right. Yes. I can totally relate to that. Being in corporate America, I mean, that's, unfortunately, corporate, and I can say back when I was in corporate, it was more so like a man's world. And so it was very challenging for women to get into leadership. But once we did get into leadership, then we've got to prove ourselves again that we earned that position. And now we've got to validate why we're here and get people to want to listen to us.
Oh, it's so true.
And so that soul crushing aspect, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yes.
absolutely. So you've been in corporate America, higher education for 25 years. What made you decide to start your own business?
I'm going to start actually when I was I'm going to start back to when was it when I first even conceived of the idea of entrepreneurship? Because I'll be honest, as a woman going through high school and college, I'm going to date myself here, in the 80s, 90s, That was
Mm-hmm.
never an option. That was
Right.
never presented as an option. You go to college and you then apply for jobs, and that was just the pathway. And so I never even considered the idea of entrepreneurship. I thought that was, quite frankly, for really creative, amazing men. I'll be honest, because
Yeah.
that was what was presented to me when I was going through school. And then it was when I got laid off from my job in higher education, which was my soul crushing job. And I had worked my way up the ladder, and then I looked around and go, wow, I'm absolutely miserable. And I had put on a lot of weight. My blood pressure was through the roof, and I knew I was going to die at the age of 40 if I didn't change.
Oh,
But I
wow.
couldn't. I just didn't know how to get out of that situation. So it had to be a layoff. And that was back
Mhm.
after 9/11, and they cut a third of the administrative staff. And I was part of that massive layoff. And at that point, I started going, whoa, I'm not really sure I want to do this any longer. I loved, loved,
Mhm.
loved the career development piece, but I wasn't really keen on the whole environment. It was very toxic for me personally. It wasn't for everyone, just me personally. It's a very toxic environment.
Mhm.
And I want to make that clear, because when we say a toxic environment, that can be that it's just for us. It's not a good fit for us, whereas it could
Right.
be perfectly beautiful environment for other people. So I just like to distinguish that. But for me, it was a toxic environment. And I was like, I don't know if I want to go back to do that
Mm.
anymore. So I started looking at the idea of career coaching. And I played around with that, and I thought, oh, there's people who actually do this as a entrepreneurial venture.
Mhm.
And all of a sudden, it's like, boom. It's like,
Light went
oh,
off. Ding, ding, ding.
yeah, I can do that. And, I dabbled in it, but then along came a job. It was a Kelly temp position. And along came a job. And at that point, you're just like, oh, I just need to make money. Because, trying to start a business takes a
Right.
lot of effort and takes uh, a lot of know-how. It takes the right support. It takes a lot to really get a
Yeah.
business off the ground. I really didn't have the business acumen. I'll just be honest. I really didn't. And I had a lot of a lot of self-doubt about it, which really wasn't helping me out either. Because when you get laid off, something about your confidence just really gets shattered. And so my confidence was pretty low at that point. So along came this job as a Kelly temp job. It was for coaching. I was like, I
Hmm.
get to paid for coaching. And next thing I knew, this turned into a full-time gig. And I had great benefits, and I had a pension plan. And 15 years later, I'm still doing wellness coaching in a corporate
Yeah.
environment. And then COVID came to pass. And that
Mm.
challenged me to rethink everything. It's like, what do I really want to do? What is it that really lights me up? And it's helping other women succeed in the career arena, and
Right.
to get paid what they are worth, to believe in themselves, to be able to do whatever their heart desires rather than holding themselves back. And so I think that is just so important to just uplift other women. And so I think that's really why I became so passionate about that over the
Mhm.
summer, and have started to build that platform.
Okay.
So
Well, great.
I gave you a lot of information there, Linda.
Yeah, and that's great. It's a lot of information, but oftentimes, we as women, when we're in a position and we become comfortable, we it's hard to get out of that, because things are great, paid, and just don't rock the boat. But when your number is up, your number is up, and then you have to figure out what are your next steps. So, what message would you give to the audience that's listening that someone may be in that process right now, particularly, with COVID going on, and we know that, budgets are in play for some companies have already done their budgets, but, they're making plans for 2021. And
Mhm.
what if someone is in that position right now? They've been notified that, hey, changes for 2021 and we may not need as many people. What message would you give to those individuals who are listening today to really figure out, what is my next step?
Mm. Well, first off, and this is in the mini course, the free mini course I have that we'll get to later on, is really about just taking that step back. Especially if you're feeling burnt out, especially if you're feeling stressed out,
Mm-hmm.
if you aren't happy in your current position, if you're feeling unsatisfied, unfulfilled, all of that puts a veil over what we really, really, truly desire because we've gotten so used to tolerating so many things in our
Mm-hmm.
lives that are not making us happy that all those tolerations have really numbed us to what are really our true inner wisdom is trying to tell us. And so those little nudges that come up,
Yeah.
like I had that big nudge to,
Yeah.
to start the business this summer, and those we don't hear those. And so it's first taking that step back and literally just taking some deep breaths or some mini little meditations or just taking that time for self-care, whatever we can do for ourselves just to start to lift that veil, that fog, and be able
Mm-hmm.
to really hear that inner wisdom. Because once we start listening to that and we start following it, amazing things can happen.
Yeah, so true, so true. Yeah, it's often that, we as women, we have what we still have women's intuition, and particularly when it comes to our kids. But when it comes to decisions that we have to make, we have that gut instinct. We everyone does, but I think more so for women. And we need to do better at trusting our gut instinct and not letting our head get in the way of our heart to determine what we want to do next. Because as a female, our main thing is we want to make sure that we present ourselves well and we don't want to ruffle the feathers.
Oh,
And so that's great to step back to look to see, where they are before they start talking about where they want to go.
Oh, absolutely. And as you're saying that, I recall that I remember shutting my intuition down because back when I was in higher ed and some from some other positions before that, to shut that intuition down because intuition was considered a feminine trait. And so I shut it down and I was really miserable because of that. And it took me some time to start to uncover that again. And now I love it because it's my best guidance system in the whole world is that intuition. But I had shut it down. And then I recently learned, and this is fascinating, that the top leaders, many of them men, what do they use? They use their intuition.
Oh yeah, they make a decision just like that. They're not waiting
Yeah.
for a piece of paper to, let me check, the data.
Right. So it makes me question, why are there two different expectations, I guess. How come women have to shut their intuition down? I don't know.
Tricky.
And
Mhm.
why do the top male leaders actually use it, which helps them to be so
Mhm.
successful? It's just a
Right.
really interesting. Why are we doing that?
Well,
What is
we
going
need
on?
to play more golf. I mean, people, I have heard, great decisions are made on the golf course.
Yes.
So we as women, maybe we need to play more golf and get sure, but
Oh my goodness. I am so awful at golf. I took it in college. You do not
am
wanna
I?
know how bad I am at golf.
I am not great at golf. I do have golf clubs. I will tell you that. I do have golf clubs. They haven't been used probably like 10 years, but I have them.
Yeah, yep. Oh, maybe we
Yeah,
can come up with another sport.
I know. But it's, I mean, you think about it, it's really interesting how men can go play golf and solve the world and make money all at the same time, our day. And as women, sometimes, we get pushback when we're trying to make a decision that is critical to our business or the company that we work for, and we get pushback sometimes. So yeah, it's interesting how men can use their intuition and women cannot.
Yes, and I love that we're just kinda riffing here because that was a little aha as we were talking here. I never had really thought about that before, but it's so true. There's like two different expectations for gender, and I
Yeah.
think that's important to start unveiling that. And honestly, I was under a cloud for most of my life that, oh no, there's no gender issues, and and then all of a sudden this veil starts to lift as I'm going into my doctorate
Mm-hmm.
degree and learning about social justice and learning about education from a different perspective,
Mm-hmm.
and this veil starts to be lifted, and you see the reality, and when you see that reality, there's no going back. You cannot ignore
Yes.
it any longer. So for most of my life, I ignored that women only make generally wellness is white women make about 83 cents to the dollar, where women of
Mm-hmm.
color, I read, maybe 50 or 60
Yeah,
cents.
50 or 60, right? Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, "Wait a minute, that is so not right." Why all my life have I just said, this is how it is."
Well,
But
it's been that way for a really long time.
right, right.
And unfortunately, I think Hispanic and Asian women I think Asian women make a little bit more than African American, but Hispanic women, I think, make a little less than the African American women. I'm not sure how or why it's done that way, but that's what the data shows.
Yes, which is fascinating. It's absolutely yeah. I mean, so once you lift that veil, and someone mentioned recently too that we've never had a female president, and but that never before really I was like, "Well, yeah, men are just president." I never questioned that. It's crazy. I never questioned that my entire life until now. I love that that conversation's changing, and
Yeah,
we have our first woman VP. I mean, that's pretty freaking incredible.
it's amazing, and you're right because I would have never guessed. And then a woman of color, which puts the cherry on the top.
Yes.
Um, but I think because we as individuals, we as women, have become comfortable with seeing male figures in leadership
Mm.
in the authoritative. So, things are a little bit different. So even think about from a church perspective, religion. There have been in the past mostly male ministers and priests, and we are seeing more women come into those spaces, which is good. But they're, again, men started a lot. So I guess, over time, women will get into more of those positions and be more in leadership where we can do good and make good decisions.
So true. Yes. I mean, I said earlier, women with more wealth, women in more leadership positions, it literally would change the face of the earth. It would just change so much. And eh, yeah, and so I am really on a mission to help women to lift themselves up. We need to stop having that self-doubt. We need to start rising each other up instead of crushing each other with silly stuff
Yeah.
like how we look or how we speak or what we wear. I mean, we start to do that to each other. It's like that's just okay, I'm going to go there. It's just the patriarchy that has told us how to treat each other.
Right. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I guess, you probably go into more of that in your coaching because it says, you have a keen ability to see possibilities in others. Say more about that because, someone that may be listening may be thinking, I'm not worthy or I'm not, have some self-limiting beliefs. So talk a little bit about how you help individuals get over those self-limiting beliefs and, let me know if I if I caught you off guard with that question or not.
Oh, no, no, I love it. I love it. I love that question. It's a great question. And so, yes. So, I think it is about lifting the veil. Everything we're talking about, hopefully, anyone watching this on the replay or watching this now, hopefully a light has gone on that, these are real issues. And they are issues that impact us on a subconscious level. Let's be real about this because I subconsciously was thinking for many years, I am not as good as a male, or I can't start a business because I'm not a male, or I shouldn't try to get to top leadership positions because I'm not a male. That was all subconscious. I wasn't completely conscious of that. So a lot of that external stuff through very, I think, well-meaning people throughout our lives, teachers, parents, mentors, and then also the culture just reinforces all of this feeling of worthlessness, especially as women. And we need to just unveil that. And when we start unveiling that, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait a minute. And you see it, and then you can start working with it. But you need to, I think, first unveil it for what it really is, because we tend to blame ourselves for holding ourselves back when really we need to look at the bigger picture. It's not just that we are holding ourselves back. We have internalized what our culture says about women in business or women in leadership positions.
Yeah. Yep, exactly. And that's so true. It's women and all individuals need to, I can't say get over, but, we need to help ourselves recuperate from these self-limiting beliefs, because it's, you're not born with self-limiting beliefs. I mean, think about it. When you're a baby and they're learning how to walk and they fall and they get back up, and it's just so cute to see them do that. But they keep trying until they walk. They don't say, I can't walk today. They're eager
Exactly.
they're eager to want to pull those cabinet drawers open and find out what's in there, And when we become adults or older individuals, we just kind of like, so-and-so said it's not a great idea, so I'm not going to do it. Or I tried it, it didn't work, I'm not going to do it. Or I was told that, why am I doing that? So then you start thinking in your mind that, why am I doing that? And then you don't do it. And so we need to stop beating ourselves up, number one thing, but also need believing in ourselves, as you said, that we are good enough and we can do it, and we can do it well and be successful.
Absolutely. And I've been watching Mel Robbins. I'll be honest, I really had not paid attention to her, but I'm watching something right now where she's talking about self-doubt. And like you're saying, that the walking, we didn't doubt ourselves as children. We just got up again. We kept getting up again. But as adults, because we've been trained to have self-doubt, it's not a personality trait. Sometimes people go, oh, that's just who I am. That's been trained into you. And so we need to go back to how we learned how to walk. You just get up and you take that step, and you get up and you take that step. That's the only way you can build really true confidence. Now, you can say affirmations and you can build yourself up to do what you need to do in the moment, but that's kind of that fakey kind of self-confidence, right? But for true self-confidence, you need to take one step after another. That's what builds up that true confidence.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Awesome. Awesome. Well, Amy, as we're getting to the end of our conversation, I know you have a free offer for our guest today. So tell us about that.
Yes. And I mentioned this a little earlier about lifting that veil, lifting the fog. And so what I have is this free offer, Doubt to Destiny. And it's really about how do you just get started? And these are the same principles that I did when I was feeling very doubtful. And they're very simple, and you've probably done them before, but not in this order. Because often what we'll do is we'll vision. It's like, oh, what do I want? But we're doing that when we're feeling miserable and stuck. And that's a really horrible place to start imagining. It makes us feel good in the moment, is why we do it. But it's really not the best place to really be visioning. You want to be visioning from a place where your inner guide, your inner wisdom is really coming into play. So I start the first half of that course with just breathing exercise and having folks just practice that. And it seems so simple, right? But when we do that breathing practice, we start to uncover that inner guidance system that may have been pushed down for many, many years. And then we move into, okay, let's just do some really quick questions, and let's get right to what you want, why you want it, who are you, and where do you want to go? And then we move into the deep visioning, because now you have that inner guidance system. And then we pull it all together, and I share in there too something, and this is kind of back to the science piece here. The science piece is most of us are doing visioning wrong. What
Mm,
we're doing is we are visioning our future. And if you're in a soul crushing job, what's happening is that makes you feel better. And I did this for a decade.
mm,
It made me feel better to think about, oh, I could just start a job. Today really is sucky, so I'm just going to think about what could be. I felt better, and then I went home, I relaxed, watched some Netflix, went to bed. Next day was better. What did I do? Nothing for the business, because it felt better to vision. It's that
yeah.
positive psychology. So we're misusing visioning. So
Mm,
unless you've got that vision, not just up here, and you're just
right?
using it when it's convenient because you feel bad, but when you're writing it down, and when you're looking at it every day, and when you're thinking about, okay, what are the obstacles that are getting in the way of this, then that vision becomes something different. And
Different.
so that
Yeah.
whole practice is in there as well. If nothing else, I would download it just for that, because that will get you in the top 14% of those who really achieve.
Wow.
Uh,
Awesome. Awesome. Yeah. So I am this coming Sunday. I meet with my older nieces and nephews, because they're in their late 20s, early 30s, and helping them, think about entrepreneurship and making money different ways as we are having our vision board party.
yes, yes, I love it. I love it. It's so, yeah.
You have to get them thinking differently. And as you just said, putting it on paper or cutting it out and having an activity and posting it to say, hey, this is what my goals and objectives are, or this is what my vision is for 2021. I think, as you said, if you write it down, you're basically solidifying it, and you have a better chance of achieving it.
Oh, absolutely. And you're adding another component there, which I love, which is so important, is the accountability of others, because you're sharing
Yes.
that with other people. So when you just keep it in here as your little safe space to go when you're having a really horrible day, that's not going to get you anywhere. It's going to keep you
No,
stuck, is what it's going to do. That vision is going to keep you stuck right where you are.
that
So
is so,
stop
yeah.
doing that if you're doing that.
No, that is so true. So yeah, I emailed my nieces and party, and it's going to be fun, and it'll be my first time doing it on Facebook or StreamYard or whatever you want to call it, but virtually. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun, and to really start thinking about what are our plans, because we all need to do that. We all need to really look at what is our vision, our hopes, our dreams for the upcoming year, because it's knocking at the door like yesterday. And so we need to get ready and prepare for that. Thank you so much for that, Amy. So for those that are listening, she has this free on again in your career by downloading the free 2-week mini course. And so I have put that link in the chat. So for those that are interested, please check out Amy's mini course, because I think it's going to be very interesting. And again, I just want to say I love your tagline: life is too short not to be doing what lights you up. So any last words for our audience, Amy, for today?
Yes, I would just say, yeah, follow the tagline. It's just do what lights you up. And if you're in a soul crushing job right now and you're miserable and you're thinking there's no opportunity out there and you feel like you're backed into a corner, reach out to Linda, reach out to myself, reach out to someone that can believe in you until you start believing in yourself, and just take one step. You may be in self-doubt, but just take one step. Just take one step forward, and that one step can be reaching out. So
Yeah,
thank you
absolutely.
so much for having me here with you today, Linda. This was a lot of fun.
Oh, thank you so much for joining me. It's a pleasure to get to know you better, a pleasure to get to understand your business better. We complement each other. So, you never know where the future may take us. But it has been a pleasure to have you with me today on my show. I'm calling it my
I
show.
love it. It is your show. Absolutely.
So I look forward to having you again. I look forward to the opportunity to share more with my audience. And so for those that are joining, again, if you missed the actual video, just type in hashtag replay if you're watching this again. But check out coaching. She's got some great stuff, and check out her free 2-week mini course. So I think it's going to be fantastic for all of you. And so have a fantastic day and look forward to seeing Amy again here soon. Take care. Bye-bye.